Hey folks, today we're going to show you how to install the fixed panel of an EnerLux patio door. So first you have to know which side the fixed panel goes on. There's a couple ways you can tell that. After the frame has been installed, plumb, level, and square in the rough opening, if it's a 2-panel, obviously you can tell where the keeper is. That's where the active panel will go. But the real way to tell is where the fixed block is. So this is the block that's on the sill. That is where the fixed panel will land on top of. So you know this is the side where the fixed panel will go on top of the fixed block. So next is the panel. There's a specific orientation that the panel needs to go into the door as. So you'll know this in a couple different ways. One is the weather strip on the panel. There will only be weather strip on one side, and that weather strip always goes into the jamb. So the weather strip always goes in the jamb. Conversely, on the other side of the panel, there's no weather strip. You can see on this side of the panel, there's no weather strip. So the side without weather strip faces the active panel. The side with weather strip goes on the jamb. The last way you can tell how to orient the panel is where the weep holes are. So the glazing stops are always on the exterior of the door, and the weep hole is always in the glazing stop on the exterior. So these little notches on the bottom of the panel will tell you that that's the exterior, and they go on the bottom. So that's how you know if the panels are oriented properly. So we'll go ahead and put it in now. Get it into position first. Make sure you have enough room between the jamb and the panel, and you're going to lift it up into the fixed rail and down onto the fixed block. So you'll know if the panel is seated properly when it's flush with the fixed blocks. Sometimes it can go on the fixed block off center. Now we just slide the panel over into the jamb. One thing to check on the interior of the door is that the panel makes contact with the jamb along the length of the jamb. That tells you everything's level, everything's plumb, and it's a tight seal against the jamb. So just make sure that that is nice and snug up against the jamb. Additionally, you'll know if you did it right if the fixed block is flush with the edge of the panel. So that should all be in one plane. So now we're going to take our anchor brackets. You should have 2 of them, and we're going to anchor the fixed panel. You're going to want to pre-drill with an 1/8" bit. You should have some number 10 pan head screws to use. So I start on the top, and you want the panel to be centered on the jamb, on the header. I'm sorry. There's a little guide here in the center. There's a little self-locating channel where the tip of the screw can go. So we're going to put one in here. Obviously not too far, you don't want to go hit the glass. And then we're going to put those in first. Okay, careful not to strip the screws. Our panels are assembled with a urethane glue in the corner, so just keep in mind that when you drill into the panel, you're drilling into a urethane, a glue. And then lastly, we'll put header screw in. And this again, you want to make sure you center the panel. See how it can wobble there a little bit? Make sure that your screw goes into the self-locating screw channel on the header. Might be a little tough to see there. You'll have to go to an angle. Again, being real cautious, you don't strip anything. Get that. Now the top is anchored. Bottom, similar process. The only difference is that on the bottom, you're going to be securing into the fixed block instead of the header. So after you've got the bottom anchor secured and the top anchor secured, the next step is to install the fixed interlock. So after you've gotten the fixed panel installed and anchored on the header and the sill, the next step is to install the fixed interlock. The fixed interlock is just a cover for this part of the panel. You can tell the difference between a fixed interlock and an active interlock because an active interlock has a notch on the top and the bottom, but the fixed interlock only has a notch on the top. So to install the fixed interlock, you'll come from roughly the interior of the door and slot it on to the fixed panel, like that, okay? The weather strip on a fixed panel interlock faces the interior of the door. So once it's on, it's got a little, it's got a clip that needs to be engaged. You can just tap really lightly with a mallet right on the weather strip, and you'll feel it snap in. Okay, so now it's secured. We're going to screw it in. There should be some number 8 self-tapping screws with a color painted head. You can use the self-tapping screws to go straight through the fiberglass. We encourage you to pilot hole the holes, however. There's 5 screws to put in. We just space them evenly, so you go top, bottom, middle, and then evenly spaced. Good. Simple as that. So that completes the fixed panel installation. Installing the active panel is very simple. We have another video on that. And then finalize the door with the head stop bumper and the anti-lift block. We have videos on all of that. Check out our channel. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And thanks for watching.